Yeah, see, the next concept in this section is deleting rows or columns from a data frame. So if we want to do this, first we need to create the data frame. First we need to create the data frame. So normal data frame only I'll create by using uh, the dictionaries. pd.data frame column 1. The values will be providing 5 rows. Column 2, third column, and I'll be giving the index as row 1. So 5 rows will be getting here. Row 2, row 3, row 4, row 5. So now I'm going to be print. Will be importing pandas SPD. We are going to get the data. Now on this data, we'll try deleting rows or columns from the existing data frame. See, now axis 1 innocence, columns. Axis 1 will represent columns. Axis 1 represent columns. Axis 0 will represent rows. Axis 0 will represent rows. Now, result data frame I'll be giving as result data frame 1 I'll be giving as df dot drop is the function we are using here, and I'll be removing the row 3. I'll be removing the row 3. So that is a row. Axis we are going to be provided as 0 here. After removing this, what is the data frame? What is the data frame? It is a df1. So now if you observe here, row 3 is there, row 3 is there, and if you observe here, there is no row 3. There is no row 3. The row 3 has been removed here. So like that we can able to remove this. And in the same way, if we want to remove the column, by using drop itself, we can able to remove this. res df1 will be getting df1 dot drop of, what is the column name? I would like to remove column 2. I'll remove. So here axis is 1 we need to pass. Drop is the function which we are using for removing the rows and as well as columns. But we need to provide the access. See, AX, access, which will be represents both row index and as well as column index. Axis is equals to 1 will represent rows. Axis is 1 which will represent columns. So that we are going to be get now. After removing this column here, so if I'm printing result df1, so what value we are going to be get? After removing the column to rest of the data frame, it is going to be display for us. Rest of the data frame, it is going to be display for us. Now we didn't modify, we have a result df1, result df1. See, now I'll take df1. These are the things we have. So which is going to be modified in the data frame. Sorry. Yeah, it is going to be modified into result df1 because after removing the row index, we have given the data frame to be stored in is a result df1, and after removing the column also we have given to store in the result df1. Now we would like to rename this. Renaming row labels of a data frame. Renaming row labels of a data frame. See, now we have row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, row 5 as the values, as the rows. I would like to change that name into R1, R2, R3, R4, R5. So for that, rename is a method we are going to use. Result df2, df1 dot or res df1 dot rename. So we are going to be provide this thing in dictionary. Row 1, I would like to name it as R1. Next, row 2, I would like to name it as R2. Row 3, I would like to name it as R3. R4, R5 we have. We'll modify only this part. We'll modify only this part. Or if you want to modify the complete thing also, it will allow us. So we'll do complete one only. Row 4 will be giving as R4. Row 5 will be giving as R5. See, instead of getting here R1, R2, R3, R4, R5, we have named this as R1, R2, R3, R4, and R5. In the same way, we can able to modify the column labels. We can able to modify the column labels. See, just that moment we are going to be naming as access columns. Same rename function we are going to be used here. Same rename function we are going to be used here. We'll see df3 df1 dot rename. I would like to give the column name column 1 as C1, column 3 as C3, column 3 as C3. axis I'll be giving as columns. So column 1 is renamed as C1, column 3 is renamed as C3. Next concept, accessing data frame element through indexing. Through indexing. So first we are going to be discuss label based indexing. Label based indexing. Now first we are going to be display here df1. This is a rows and columns we have in df1. Now LOC, as we discussed in the series session, LOC, which is used for providing the label. So here we are using df1.loc of column 2. If I'm providing the entire column, it is going to be access. The entire column, it is going to be access. Column, not there. Sorry. LOC, by default, it is going to be considered as a row label. LOC, by default, it is going to be considered as row label. Row 2, we are going to be get. For all the 3 columns, we are going to be get accessing row 2 from df1 data frame. df1 data frame. Now what will happen here? If we are accessing, uh, the sequence df1.loc row 2 colon row 4. So from row 2 to row 4, it is going to be access. From row 2 to row 4, it is going to be get access. If we want to access columns, so directly we can able to access the columns. How it will be? See, df1 column 1, df1 column 2, or if I'm giving df1 column 1 column 2, we are going to be get the label we are going to be get here. So whatever it may be the columns we require, we can able to get it. Accessing the rows and as well as accessing columns based on the label. If we want to access based on the label, row, we are going to be use LOC, and normally DF, that is data frame, and in the column name we are going to be specify, it is going to be gives the column values. And accessing based on Boolean indexing. Accessing based on Boolean indexing. So here I can able to get the value which is greater than or equal to um, some value if we are providing. So based on that, we are going to be get. See now, if we are seeing this data frame df1, values are there. In the column 3, whichever it may be the values we have more than 250, for that, if we are providing the condition like that, whichever it is satisfying the condition will be getting as true, or else it is going to be written as false. Now first what we are going to be give here, df1.loc, row wise we'll take first row 1 or row 2 values which is greater than 30. So column 1, column 2, column 3 it is going to be get. Column 1, if you see here we have 20, that is not greater than 30, because of that it is going to be get as false. And 22 also, it is not false, it is see, it is also not true, because 22 is not greater than 30. 22 is not greater than 30. So if we are seeing that, we are going to be get the Boolean indexing over here. If the same thing, if you want to check row wise and as well as column wise, df1.loc, just comma colon, which is going to be represent all rows, and for the column 2 I'll give here, which is greater than 35. So for the column 2, for all the rows, row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, row 5, whichever the values greater than 35, it has been written as uh, true, otherwise it has been given as false. The condition what we have given here is satisfying innocence, will be getting true, or otherwise we are going to be get false. That is nothing but Boolean indexing. If we
Yes,
can
sir.
able to access based on rows and columns, LOC, row 2 to row 4, both the rows will be included here. Both the rows will be included here. That is row 1 and row 4 as well. Column 1 column 2. So only these values if you want to get. Yeah, so we got this. So row 2 to row 4. both row 2 and as well as row 4 is included, and column 1 to column 2 we have given both the columns also included. So like this we can able to access this. And in the next session we are going to be discuss how we can able to filter rows in the data frame.